It's springtime in West Michigan, and this week we're back in Grand Rapids. On this episode of Hops, we're at Arvon Brewing Company and sit down with co-owner Jake Stanko for a look at 3 unique beers to this West Michigan tap room. On the docket, we have the Creative Flow, the Peep Patch, and the Citra Drops. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Hops with Hey Luke. Up first today, the Creative Flow Double Rye New England IPA.
It's 8.5% double rye New England. So with New Englands, you usually want to use a high protein grain, whether that's oats or wheat. We use rye for this, so it adds a little bit of spicy character to it, but mostly just for mouthfeel.
Nice. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so we did this big Easter release. A lot of the beers had Easter candies in them, jelly beans, Peeps, malted milk balls. This one does not have anything in it, any candy in it. We just do a lot of New Englands and we're known for that. So basically we just did a new New England IPA and then Brett did the artwork for it to give it like this festive Easter color theme label.
Can you explain the difference a little more between a New England IPA and just a regular IPA?
A New England IPA, what makes it a New England IPA or hazy IPA is the type of grain you use. So like I said, we talked about using rye in this, or you'll use wheat or oats. A high percentage of that grain bill is high protein grain. And then the yeast you use, so we use a yeast that doesn't settle out, it doesn't flocculate, so it stays in suspension, which creates a lot of that haze. And then also the amount of hops you use and when you use them. So a normal IPA, you would hop or dry hop, which is adding hops after fermentation. Generally, it's a pound, maybe a pound and a half per barrel. For these beers, we use 6 to 7. So you use massive amounts of hops. And what you're trying to do is extract hop oil and hop flavor without extracting a lot of the bitterness. So it keeps the beer softer. Generally, they're fruitier and supposed to be, as you can see, super hazy.
Second, we have the Peep Patch Kettle Sour.
I want to try this one. Let's try this one and then chat about it.
Cheers. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Sweetness is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely taste all the berries and the fruit. But yeah, this one, inspired by Peeps, very fruity.
Yes. So we do a lot of kettle sours, which is what this is. We do 1 to 2 a week. And with that, we always fruit them very, very heavily, sometimes during fermentation, in this case after fermentation. So none of the fruit is fermented out, so you're essentially blending sour beer with pureed fruit. With this type of beer, sometimes we'll add some sort of other sweetener. So marshmallows is a common one. In this case, we use Peeps.
And something I noticed too, you mentioned it, how it's just kind of that blend. This is thicker too, a lot thicker.
Yeah, it's almost like a puree beer.
And lastly, on this episode of Hops, we have the Citra Drops Cryo Citra New England IPA.
It's a series, we call it the Drop series, and it is a 100% single hop, all cryo hops. So this one's Citra. What a cryo is where when they process the pellets from the whole cone, they essentially freeze it with nitrogen and they're extracting as much of the lupulin, which is the yellow powder where you get all your flavor and all your aroma from. They're trying to extract as much of that and leave behind as much of the green vegetal matter as possible. So you're basically like concentrating that hop. So these hops are super potent and all the beers are more aggressively hopped, where they come off more aggressively hopped than our traditional New England IPAs. So,
cheers.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, you definitely taste that.
Oh yeah.
And where's that come from again?
The lupulin. The lupulin, which is the yellow, it's the pollen in the hops.
For more on hops and next week's episode, head over to woodtv.com and click the Watch tab.